This is Frank Estem, Chairman and CEO of FY Investment Group and your host of Washington Current Review, where we interview leading voices from business, politics, that impact you, the viewer. Today, our guest is Ramesh Khurana. Ramesh, nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming to our show. Tell me a little bit about yourself. You're an attorney. Attorney of what?
My focus area is immigration matters. And when we talk about immigration matters, mainly business immigration. Now, business immigration would cover IT people,
yes,
who usually come on H-1B visas.
Right. So let's go on with the new thing about H-1B visa. Something happened yesterday, right?
Oh, yes. Something happened which is very exciting.
Sure.
Especially H-1B's principal beneficiaries, our spouses. Now, they have been waiting for a long time.
So they can work now?
They can work now, but there are some riders.
There are some riders?
Yeah. It's not that every H-1B spouse is going to be allowed to work. Now, first of all, applications will be accepted only as from May of 26th, 2015.
Okay.
So we have 3 more months to go. And second thing is, this is the outcome of President Obama's announcement on November 20th. Certain initiatives were announced, and one of the initiatives was that H-4 spouses, under certain conditions, will be permitted to work, because the reason was that usually they live with one income. So it's a kind of economic hardship for H-1B spouses, why they should be sitting at work. And especially the green card process, it takes such a long...
Forever.
You said it. So it takes forever, especially for people who are on a EB2 category or EB3 category. It takes more than 12 years. So I was telling you that there are some conditions attached to it. Not every H-1B spouse is allowed to work. What are those important conditions? Number one is...
Okay.
Yes. Number one is that the green card process must have been started by the employer.
Okay. In order for the spouse to work.
Yes. So when the green card process is started...
Maybe it'll put a lot more pressure on the employer to get them sponsored.
Yes, you know.
That could be one of the advantage of it.
You are 100% right. That's another way of putting pressure on the employer. Start my green card process. My spouse is sitting idle at home. She wants to work.
Sure.
So once the green card process is started, we start usually with the labor certification process under EB2 or EB3 category. And once the labor certification process is done, the next stage is to file the immigrant petition, which is I-140.
Sure.
So one of the two conditions is, if I-140 is approved,
then
only the principal beneficiary of that spouse, or I-140 has been pending for the last more than 1 year. And second condition is, if the labor certification process was started, maybe it went into audit, or maybe supervised recruitment was ordered, and it has been pending for more than 365 days, and that person who has been on H-1B, now he became entitled for the 7th year based on the pending labor certification process for 365 days or more. Only in these two conditions, their spouses will be allowed to work.
So it's sound like it's still got some problems and challenges and conditions, right? But at least it has been approved, so you have to look at the brighter horizon.
Exactly, like you talked about brighter horizon, that's the right approach. It is estimated that about 180,000 applications are going to be filed during the first year itself.
Oh my goodness, after May?
Yes, starting May 26th.
So they will become part of the workforce?
Yes, they will become
Hopefully
part of
they will be productive, they will contribute to our economy and its economic growth.
That's the objective in mind when the Obama administration made an announcement.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about this, you're pretty hot on this DAPA. What is a DAPA? What does it do? And
yeah,
I don't think I don't think I know, and I don't think the audience knows. Shed some light on it.
Yeah, sure.
And what does it do?
This is again, DAPA is again an initiative which was announced by President Obama in his speech on November 20th.
So this part of executive power, executive orders, yeah?
Yes, this is part of the executive action.
Which is a little bit of a derail, but we'll talk a little bit about that, what's happening because of the judge, what the judge did.
Yes. So this initiative was announced also on November 20th, And DAPA stands for Deferred Action for Parents of U.S. Citizens and Green Card Holders or Lawful Permanent Residents.
Okay.
Now, again, there are certain conditions. It doesn't mean that everybody who's a parent of some U.S. citizen child or green card holder child becomes eligible. The most important condition is that person should have been present on January 1 of 2010. So, after if somebody is not present on January 1st, 2010, even if he came here on January 2nd, 2010, he's out of luck. So, second condition is that he or she should not have committed any felonies.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah, and certain misdemeanors are also not allowed. And when we say that he was present on January 1st, 2010, and presumably that person has never left the United States after January 1st, 2010.
You all left the country?
Yes.
Okay.
And then there is a physical presence requirement also, because this announcement was made on November 20th. Then the person must have been physically present on November 20th, 2014. And after that, of course, he can't leave this country. So, if that person complies with all these conditions, then he was eligible to file. But
So eligible to file for what? For the citizen?
DAPA.
Oh, DAPA.
Okay. Now, this is not a green card process.
Okay, that's what I was wanting to know.
Yeah.
What's the process involved here?
This process is simply a kind of hybrid status, which is a kind of legal status, which allows that person to apply for work permit and work in this country, but it doesn't open any doors to the process of green card or to U.S. citizen, because President is not vested with any powers to make any laws for the green
it's
card.
obviously the issue of the Congress to pass those. This is legislative
Yes.
branch is responsible
Yes,
for that. Right?
but this is a part of the executive action, as you mentioned right in the beginning. So, President has got the executive power, which is also called the prosecutorial discretion, and this was done in exercise of the prosecutorial discretion.
So tell me a little bit about what judge order. You know, is that in Texas or Alabama that happened?
That happened in Texas.
Texas. Well,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah,
everything
you know,
else.
Texas.
Well, Texas is a great country, by the way. Great, not a country, state.
Yes, yes. So,
So tell me a little bit about the judge order, and I think that I think Attorney General went back there again to the Supreme Court. They went back and they said that the stay order. So tell me, shed some light on this thing
Sure.
for the audience.
sure. When you are talking about the Texas, in fact, there are 26 states.
26 what?
26 states in the United States who filed this complaint.
Okay.
But this complaint was filed in Federal District Court, Texas, and Texas state is the leading state, lead plaintiff, so called. So, this was filed in the federal court. Now, how the standing of Texas and other 25 states was found by this judge is based on the fact, because they pled in their complaint that we have to suffer some economic loss, because once these people are given the status, which is DAPA, and there was one more program which was basically the revised DACA. So, these people, when they have got some kind of hybrid legal status, they will come to us and we have to process their driver license applications and some other benefits which they may be entitled to. So, we have to incur expenses. So, it is very nominal, but judge bought that argument. So, now
So what the administration is doing? I thought they had a stay order.
yeah.
Do you think they're going
The
to win?
administration, of course, Obama administration got upset because it was to be implemented on the next day, and then of course they took the decision that in view of the judge's order, they said that we are not going to accept any applications under the DAPA or DACA, and President Obama promised that we will definitely appeal this order, because this order was in the form of a temporary injunction against implementation of these two programs, DAPA and DACA. So, and this injunction was applicable in the whole of United States, not just the Texas. So, when the president announced that we will definitely file an appeal.
Did the president, did the administration file it?
Yes, they in fact filed on February 23rd.
Okay.
So,
What do you
and-
think their chances are?
Yeah, chances, I think judge is not going to take his decision back. This is what our Lawyers Association, I'm part of the American Immigration Lawyers
Sure,
Association.
sure.
And because they critically study all these judgments, and in fact, they also filed the amicus brief. They were one of them. And 15 more states also filed amicus brief in Federal District Court, Texas, saying that it's a good program and this is going to be economically beneficial for the families, and moreover, we want these people to come out of shadow and merge with the mainstream. But judge, I think, was predisposed.
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 Yeah.
Judge was predisposed, and in fact, this is what our association is saying. And he was basically, he had already made up his mind. Now, what has happened?
Before the case went to his attention.
Because they were looking at his past, some of the decisions and rulings. So now, when Justice Department filed a motion, we call it a motion.
Yeah, you're right.
We filed a motion on February 23rd. On the same day, Assistant Attorney General of Texas wrote a letter to judge, asking judge, there is no emergency. There is no emergency in making a decision or halting your temporary injunction, because Obama administration plea was that this is a kind of emergency motion and a decision is required to be made right away because we are unable to accept the applications. But the Assistant Attorney General wrote that there is no hurry. If there was any hurry, why did they wait for 1 week? Because this motion has been filed almost after 1 week. So now, based on that letter and the motion which has been filed by the Justice Department, judge has signaled that I'm not going to decide until next week. Rather, I'm going to give 1 week to Texas and other states who are the plaintiffs to file their response.
But do you think it'll be overturned?
I don't think so. Now, what will happen?
Okay, what will happen? Give me the
Expected.
Yeah, tell us what's going to happen.
Yeah, but this is the legal requirement, even if they have to challenge to the next level in the judiciary, which is the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, still they have to file this motion with the same judge. Now, they also understand judge is not going to reverse his decision. He is not going to halt his own injunction. But having met that requirement, they can file an emergency motion with the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, which is in New Orleans.
Okay.
Okay, so they are going to file that motion and they will say that this is important because of the implementation of this program. If they fail there, then they can go to the Supreme Court. And
So do you think this is what headed to the Supreme Court?
quite possible, because again, the Fifth Circuit is not supposed to be leaning Obama administration. This is what
Well, what about Supreme Court? That could be 50-50 here.
no, Supreme Court made some decision in 2012.
Yes.
And they recognized that administration has got the discretion in the matter of immigration enforcement.
Okay.
So that is something which is really very positive for the implementation of these programs. So Obama administration also made a statement, if judge doesn't make any decision by 25th, because it was filed on 23rd. So it's already gone, and probably they will move the Fifth Circuit.
So there's a game plan here.
Yes, game plan, but the funny thing is, when judge granted the temporary injunction, it was not based on the constitutional grounds. It's based on the procedural lapses, like administrative procedure has not been
Yeah.
followed, because there's a rule-making process. They say you didn't follow the rule-making process.
So I would hope that that will be something that the Congress can pass the DHS clean bill.
If that happens, I think this is how.
Well, but
we
they
can-
have to pass within a couple of days, within tomorrow.
Yeah. So, but I think nothing is on the table.
Nothing
You're talking about
The
funding
DHS
bill.
DHS
okay.
funding bill.
Okay. I think as regard DHS funding is concerned, now again, some kind of deal is going on.
Okay.
They may pass the clean DHS funding bill.
Yeah.
So that irrespective of the program, like they want to basically stop this executive action which was announced on November 20th. They say, okay, we give a clean bill without any riders, but next day itself, they will bring another bill.
Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah, but they would not be able to write the veto. The president does veto it.
Yes.
They don't have the 60 votes in the Senate.
Yes.
And I want to talk a little bit about H-1B, quotas and things like that. It's still a lottery system. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Lottery system gets triggered once there are more petitions filed than the numbers available. As you are aware, there are 65,000 numbers available in the general quota and 20,000 numbers are available for the master quota. So, cumulative number is 85,000. Just to give you an idea, last year 175,000 petitions were filed and there was a lottery. And this year, because of improvement in the economy, we see better economic parameters, we are expecting more than 200,000 petitions. So, if there are 200,000 petitions and the H-1B numbers remain the same, there is going to be a lottery. And all these petitions are to be shipped, we are trying, on March 31st, so that these are there on April 1.
So they have increased the quota from 175 to 200,000. That's what you said.
No.
The quota is the same.
Quota is the same.
What about the new executive order the president signed? Would that mean that will increase the quota?
They indicated.
They indicated.
They didn't give any specific information,
okay.
But they want to make some improvements in the matters of H-1Bs and L-1s. Especially, I tell you, Frank, there is one visa which is L-1B.
Yeah.
Now,
which is the business visa.
Business visa,
right.
Basically it's a intercompany transfer visa.
Sure.
People who have their subsidiaries or parent companies in the US, they can transfer their people here. Now, especially we are talking about Infosys and TCS, they used to transfer their staff on L-1B visa, and it used to be a cakewalk.
Oh, but there was a misuse. They misused it, abused the system.
They called it was
they got caught.
Yeah. But again, so much politics goes on into that kind of system also, but they people started using H-1B. So now they are adjudicating standards. Those became very rigid for L-1B.
Okay.
And
if you think about the visa that I don't know what the visa is called, but the Chinese have taken advantage of that.
AB5.
AB5.
Yeah.
That has been abused and misused also.
Yes.
Mostly the people who are making use of it is the Chinese because they have the money and they want to send their kids to the college in the United States. So,
right.
And if they have to, $500,000 they have to do that in order for them to get the visa. It's mostly, as I understand, unless I'm mistaken here, it's the Chinese, 90% of them, the Chinese people have taken advantage of that, correct?
I'm amazed you are keeping yourself well informed.
Well, I try to.
In fact, there are 10,000 green card numbers reserved for this investment green card.
And after that is that
9,500.
So that tells you a little bit has been abused and misused. Either that or the fact that Chinese wants to come to the United States and they're the one who got the money. And and the Indians do want to come over here, and the other South Asian do want to come, but they don't have the cash.
They have money now because.
So how come they're not applying?
The problem is legitimacy of funds.
Oh, okay.
And
what is it?
Legitimacy of funds, because you have to prove.
So you create 5 jobs for 5 people or 10 people?
It depends.
In a depressed area?
10 jobs for US. But investment could be 1 million or $500,000, depending upon whether you are in the rural areas.
But do you think, before we close this thing, I mean, there has been abuse, there has been misuse. At least that's what the congressional said. The Congress said that. That's what I understand. There was a hearing on that. Do you think they will continue on this path, or they will kind of say, okay, well, I don't think we're going to go anywhere with this?
You mean you are talking from the US angle point of view?
Yeah, US.
No, I think the program itself is good, and as regards Chinese abusing the system is concerned, the allegation is that banks were hand in hand with these people, And question is about the legitimacy of funds
Okay.
there too, you know. But still, these are allegations.
There's no truth to it?
No, because this is
the
being
fact
being investigated.
But the fact speaks for itself. There's a 90% of the population is the
Right.
Chinese who are making advances. So there's something going on over here.
Yeah, something is
I'm
going on.
not a person who understands all these things, but at least that's what the
Yeah, but-
perception is.
Yeah, but we have to remember, even if Indians have got money, now there is a question of repatriating US dollars from Indian economy to the US economy, and you know the Reserve Bank of India has always kept some shackles in regard to the movement of funds. That's another issue. Even if one of my friends wants to transfer $1 million and maybe he has $10 million sitting in his account equivalent in rupees,
Oh, okay.
but he's not allowed to transfer.
Okay.
You know, that's the problem.
But I tell you, the chairman of the Reserve Bank of India is a very smart man.
Yes.
I met him when I was there in India. He's a very smart man. He's from Chicago.
Yes.
Emory University. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. And thank you for inviting me.
You're most welcome. And this is Frank Islam wishing you a great week. Thank you for watching.